Hari Om Nana.
Hari Om Tali. Yeah, can I start?
Yes, you can start, Nana.
Yeah.
Nana, 1 minute.
Yep.
Yes, you can start now.
Okay. Om. Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Gnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sudrusham Tattvamashyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavaditam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Vande Guru Paramparam Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Chaiva Tato Jayamudirayet. The PDF, please.
Anna, there were a few questions that were there.
Recording in progress.
There were a few questions that were there, Nana.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I'm not able to hear. Yeah. There were a few questions that were there. Would you take the questions now or later?
Open the PDF. Go to the relevant page. Then we know we have to get started there. Yeah, we will attend to the questions right now.
Yeah. 1 second. I need this thing got closed. So it'll take me 1 minute to open the PDF.
Yeah, the first question. In the meantime.
Yeah. The difference between the Jignasu and Mumukshu was given, right? You had mentioned that Arti, Artharthi are also Mumukshus in a way.
Yeah, correct. In the sense, they are not keen on that moksha, but they have not forgotten Bhagavan. From that point of view, they are
From
mumukshus.
that point of view. Okay.
Yeah. Not really mumukshus, but they have the astikya buddhi in Bhagavan. Whenever they are in trouble, there is somebody they can depend on to bail them out.
Mm.
That is the Arti. Or Ardharti is what? One who will request Kitapa to be his friend in attaining to his ends through whatever means he adopts.
Yeah.
So he prays to him. And there will also be a contractual agreement. I will do this if you do that to me.
Mm.
I will chant your Sahasranama every day for 10 days if you ensure that I will be successful in my endeavor. A contract, a business deal.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you go to that Nayayika fellow.
No, I think we have to do from 437.
No, there is one heading, the Nayayika's point of view, that I very well remember. No, next.
We finished the Gauna Pratyaya.
Yeah. That 437 number is erroneous, I think. It
I
is
think that
Mithya
was
Pratyaya.
yesterday. I think it was yesterday.
Mithya
Here
It's
it
from
is.
here.
Reputation.
This is the one, very right. Suresh ji is very keen on this. He remembers the page number, I think, 450. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I missed the
The second
pages.
question.
Remember that heading.
Yes, this is the correct heading, sir. Another question, Brahmara.
This tarka that Swamiji is using between Gauna Pratyaya and Mithya Pratyaya, is that all required for us when we are on this path? Or is it important only for us to know the simple truths, not necessary to know the whole of the Purva Pakshi and how, Shankara has contradicted that? Because
This
some
is
of us, for me also, it was not like, I'm not sure whether I've got it completely clear. This Gauna Pratyaya, Mithya Pratyaya. So what is our approach as students of Vedanta? Do we...
That is when you are deeply contemplating about the Atma Tattva, you are likely to get these kind of doubts. It's not as though there was a Purva Mimamsaka, a Purva Pakshi in front of Shankaracharya when he is writing the Gita Bhashya and who has accosted him and raised these questions. No, Shankaracharya himself thought it fit to raise those kind of objections, those doubts, and answer them adequately with a view for the sadhaka hitardhaya. You are a sadhaka. I am a sadhaka. For the hita for you, for your benefit, for your shreyas. He has raised these questions and once and for all he has answered those. So that whenever you entertain these kind of doubts, you know how you need to answer yourself. That is the idea. Not that we need to know. You will find it necessary for you to know as you progress. At the moment, perhaps you do not need to know because you have not gone deep into the subject yet. The moment you go deep into the subject, well, you need to know. You need to know.
Can you explain this Gauna Pratyaya and Mithya Pratyaya one more time?
Gauna Pratyaya is a kind of a simile, okay? It is kind of equated and like the beautiful examples given by Shankaracharya were that Devadatta is like a lion. Devadatta is a lion. Devadatta is not a lion, but in terms of courage and fierceness, he is equated to a lion. The quality of the lion he has as though got. That kind of an attribute of the lion he has got. That is the gauna pratyaya. Okay? The mithya pratyaya is what? That he is not a lion, is clear, is known to everybody. To the one who is saying that Devadatta is a lion, it is known to him that he is not a lion. But you are saying he is a lion. And to the listener also, he knows that Devadatta is not a lion. So from that actual lion point of view, which is the Sadvastu, it is a mithya prachaya. It becomes a mithya prachaya from the point of view of you are trying to equate Devadatta to lion totally. It is mithya prachaya. It is only the guna, the swabhava, the attribute of the lion. A portion of the attribute of the lion is given to Devadatta. And he is said to be that. Another example he has given is, some farmer said, the cow is my life. That means what? His jivanopadhi is entirely through the cow. When he says that cow is my life, he is convinced the cow is not his life, but without that, he cannot survive. His livelihood is dependent on the cow. That is a gauna prachaya. The mithya prachaya is what? If you consider that the cow is indeed that farmer, it is a mithya prachaya. Okay?
This thing was raised with respect to the Purva Pakshi saying that the Atma, what was that thing? That Atma is not a Gauna, is the Gauna Pratyaya, not Mithya Pratyaya. That was their contention, isn't it?
What the Purva Paksha was saying is, Atma is a Karta, that is a Gauna Prachaya. He is saying that it is a Gauna Prachaya. Shankaracharya negates that, saying it is not a Gauna Prachaya. It is a Mithya Prachaya. What you are claiming Atma as the doer is a Mithya Prachaya. Because you, an Ajnani, and supposing there is a Jnani you come across, and the Jnani knows he is an Akarta. When he is an Akarta, he knows. You also have the capacity to know that you are an Akarta. You are not in a position to know yet. Neither are you making any adequate prayatnam, adequate effort in that direction. As long as that lasts, you were equating Atma as a Karta is a Mithya Prachaya. Whereas Purva Pakshi says it's a Gauna Prachaya. That is a contention. Okay? Like nobody needs tell us that we are Karta. I know I am Karta, but who is this I? I equate this Atma to myself. That is a Mithya Prachaya. Without the help of any Shastra, without the help of any Guru, I know I am happy, I am the Dukhi, I am successful, I am adventurous, I am brave, I am hungry. Who is this I? I equate myself that I, which in my opinion, I is what? The
Atma, actually.
misplaced
Actually, it is Atma.
Atma. Yeah. I equate that to the body, mind, sense complexes.
That is Mithya. Okay.
That is Mithya Prachaya. That equation is born out of ignorance. False identification, false notion. It's an idea that Prachaya is an idea which is false, Mithya Prachaya. And this idea you are born with. Nobody needs tell you. Even when we were young, when we were playing marbles, I got this marble, I hit that other marble, I put my marble into that hole, I won. And who is this I fellow in the child? That is
Atma
the body.
only.
Yeah, that's correct. Is the karta only. And who is that karta? Is Atma the karta?
No.
And as we grow up, when we equate, we are no longer the child. Now we have come to realize that we are in the Zoom meeting. Even now, because of Ajnana, we claim that we are the karta. I am listening. I am talking. That Atma neither talks nor listens is not understood by us. So as long as it's not understood, and this I listening, I speaking is all a mithya prachaya. It is not a gauna prachaya.
What if it were to be Gauna Pratyaya? How does that differ? I'm trying not, what I'm not able to understand is how the Purva Pakshi labels Atma as Gauna Pratyaya. Like Devadatta, example, Devadatta is a lion, is understood. It is only the fierceness of the lion that is Devadatta's quality.
True. But in that example,
But he is not a true lion.
correct.
That is
It's not a true
that is
lion.
Gauna.
True. But here, with respect to Atma, what is the Gauna Pratyaya that is being done? That Atma is a Karta. That is the Gauna Pratyaya?
Atma is a karta, is a mithya prachaya.
No. At the Purva Pakshi stand,
Ah.
why did they bring in this Gauna Pratyaya, Mithya Pratyaya into the context?
No. You are getting confused. The example given by Shankaracharya in respect of Gauna Prachaya and Mithya Prachaya was that Devadatta, the student, and the farmer, the cow, etc. Okay, that he has given distinctly. There is a Gauna Prachaya. There is a kind of a simile. He is like the lion in respect of courage, in respect of his atrocity, fearlessness, etc. He is very fierce. That stops there. That is Gauna, yes. But when you want to say, he is the lion, he is the lion, when you say that, it becomes Mithya Prachaya. He can never be the lion, number one. He neither has a tail, nor the mane, nor the shape of the animal, nor does he have 4 legs. Neither does he have the gait of the lion. Neither does he have the capacity of the lion to combat elephants and tigers and everything else. You can't perhaps fight a cat. If the cat is very angry with you, you can't even perhaps fight a cat, leave alone any tiger, elephant. So that becomes a mithya prachaya. What Purvapakshi is saying is, he is not drawing a distinction between Gauna Prachaya and Mithya Prachaya. He is simply saying that is a Gauna Prachaya. That Atma is a Karta is a Gauna Prachaya, he is saying. He is not talking of Mithya Prachaya, which Shankaracharya was talking.
He introduces
what you are claiming as Gauna Prachaya is indeed not Gauna Prachaya, my dear. It is Mithya. It is a false notion. It is by ignorance you have identified yourself with the body, mind, senses. And you keep on claiming you are doing this, you have been successful, you are elected, you are defeated, you have entered the semi-finals of the World Cup. You, the team, Croatia entered, Argentina entered. That the captain of both these teams, they can claim, I have entered. That is Mithya Prachaya. That identification is not Gauna. That is the contention of Shankaracharya.
Okay.
Okay.
This one, no, Nanaji.
Yeah. Yes,
what
sir.
This ignorance, what a
Ignorance, what ignorance
thick it is.
cannot do.
It cannot go.
Maya. Maya.
So difficult it is. Though we are Atma, we are not able to see it.
Yes.
What a mithya.
True. Even though we have Paroksha Jnana, that Atma is not the Karta.
But we are not able
We
to.
don't have the Aparoksha Jnana. In our day-to-day dealings, we think we are the Karta. Why did I do this? I could have been otherwise successful. Why did I make this wrong step? This is the bhavana of even people like you and I, who have the Paroksha Jnana that Atma is not the Karta. Is it not?
Yeah.
That is the Midya Prachaya. Okay, Brahmana?
Yes, Nana.
Any other question?
And I don't know if anybody else has any questions.
All questions will be answered by Shankaracharya. Yeah. Now,
For us, you are Nanaji, you are Shankaracharya for us.
No. I'm just a person like all of you. I'm a co-student. Now, the reputation of Nayayika.
That is Mithya. That is Mithya.
That is Mithya. Okay.
You are not Shankaracharya, you are telling Gauda.
Yeah.
But it is true you are a Mithya.
No, not really. That is Gauda. I can't say Shankaracharya was one of the all-time greats. It's not an easy thing. And before him, there was no Acharya who has tried to set right the thinking in the minds of the common people, in the minds of Pandits, in the minds of Vidwans alike. This is the way to think. This is the way to analyze. This is the meaning of the Shastra. Shastra intends this for you. Shastra intends you to progress progressively. That is why there is Karma Kanda, progressively. After you have graduated from the Karma Kanda, you must get on to the Upanishads. You must know that you are indeed Tat Tvam Asi. It's a kind of a gradual development which is suggested by the Shastra. Then a Purva Mimamsaka holds on to only one leg of the Shastra, leaving the other. And that is where the trouble is. Yeah. Now, Brahmara, out of my 40 minutes, 20 are gone.
Yes, Nana,
So
you can.
I'm going to take 10 more.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. All right. Reputation of Nayayika Mata. Atma is a karta, figuratively, on account of memory, desire, and effort, says the Nayayika. Okay? This Nayayika is from the Gautama's school of thought. Nyaya Shastra. Okay.
Yeah.
Correct. Another suggestion is put forward. Now, I request all of you to be very, very attentive, because these are kind of the abstract ideas which are being suggested by the Purvapakshi, and with the same keenness, Shankaracharya is trying to negate all of them, which requires a single pointed attention to what is being heard, what is being read. Okay. Another suggestion is put forward by the Nayayikas. They also consider that the self is not an agent and that it only figuratively performs action. This is where Brahmana figuratively performs action means this is the Gauna Prachaya. Right. The argument put forward here is that the self does the action through its own memory, desire, and effort. That means what these Nayayikas are saying, they are attributing memory, desire, and effort to Atma and still calling it Gauna. Atma neither has any need for memory, any need for any desire, and there is no need for putting in any effort. That they are missing. There cannot be a desire for an object which is unknown to you, and a desire is always for a known object that is brought from memory. Very true. Somewhere I've seen it, or heard about it or experienced it before, and therefore I want it. Thus, desire is based on memory or knowledge. Then, of course, effort is required to fulfill the desire. These three are the causes for all activities. That is the Nayayika's stand. Therefore, Atma itself does not perform any action. The physical body, mind, senses themselves being inert, they themselves cannot perform any action, and therefore there's no doership, katrutva, for the body, mind, sense complex. The self, Atma, is the agent, karta, who performs the action with the help of the body, mind, sense complex. That means he also accepts a self that is distinct from the body, but it is an agent that gets things done with the body, mind, sense complex. The idea is that there is no mithya prachaya. The self, Atma, the agent, karta, uses the body, mind, senses to perform various actions. While see here, it's a self-defeating claim by the Nayaka. The Nayayika is saying Atma is not a karta. He is also accepting that, and he is saying it is gauna. When it is gauna, the self, Atma, the agent. How can it be the agent? When you grant Atma is a karta and gaunena it is karta, how is it that it is capable of making the body, mind, senses perform actions? In the second chapter, Bhagavan said, Avinashitu tadvidhi yena sarvamidam tatam vinasham avyayasya na kaschit kartumarhasi. That is one thing. And he said, this neither nahanti nahanyate veda avinashanam vidhi yayenam ajamavyayam katham sa purusha pardha kam ghatayati hantikam. This, how can anybody eliminate as an object? And how can this eliminate anybody else? Nayam hanti nahanyate. Neither does it kill, nor does it become an object of being killed by somebody else. That means what? The kartrutva is totally denied. When such is the case, Nayayika is claiming this is funny, just for the sake of argument. He is trying to project himself that he is a pandita, that is all. The self, Atma, the agent, karta, uses the body, mind, senses to perform various actions. Therefore, there's no false identity, no erroneous notion. This is their argument. That
means they are not believing in Advaita. They are saying Dvaita.
Correct.
The Jiva is Dvaita. That is what they are saying.
Not only that, sir. Even Dvaita is not against logic. Okay, Dvaita is certainly not against logic. But this Nayayika, he is defeating his own logic. Okay. On the one hand, he says, I accept that Atma is not a karta. On the other hand, he is saying Atma is making body, mind, senses conduct their actions. How does it do that? This is where they fail to appreciate that their logic is in bits and pieces, which is going to be cut asunder by Shankaracharya. So where is that? Where are we? Another, yeah. Shankara negates. They're also due to mithya prachaya alone. Shankara says this is not valid because these three things, beautifully, this argument by Shankaracharya is very beautiful. The Nayayika said what? Because of memory, because of desire, because of effort, all actions happen. Shankaracharya's burden is going to be, when did you get your memory? Any memory is based on an experience. And when did you get that experience? It is based on an action. And when did the action begin? When you are ignorant. That is how the logic is going to be developed. Shankara says this is not valid because these three things that were mentioned, memory, desire, and effort, are themselves preceded by a false notion. This false notion itself is the Mithya Prachaya. They are born of Mithya Prachaya. Memory is born of a Mithya Prachaya, as is desire and effort. How a Mithya Prachaya to be present has the following requirement in the body, etc., which is not Atma. You must first have the notion that it is
Anna, you
Atma.
can take a break. I will read and then you can continue.
No, it's okay. Yeah, 1 minute. What it says is memory is born of a Mithya Prachaya, as is desire and effort. How Mithya Prachaya to be present has the following requirements in the body, etc., which is not Atma. You must first have the notion that it is Atma, number one. That is, there should be an Atma Buddhi in the body. Because of this, a person looks upon himself as incomplete. When you have the Atma Buddhi in the body is inadequate. You would like to have a more handsome body, more pretty body, which is not the case. So you would like to make the inadequacy of the body adequate. So some action will start. Because of this, a person looks upon himself as incomplete and tries to prove that he is somebody. Being a self-conscious person, there is a self-judgment that the self is wanting. Then he wants to get rid of the wanting self, but not knowing that, he tries to get rid of his many and varied wants. According to his culture and taste, some things are found desirable, some are undesirable. This culture and taste is because of the swabhava. Okay. In other words, he has the raga, dvesha. Once he has the desire, he makes effort to experience the desirable object or avoid the undesirable. Once he has that experience, it goes into his memory, his store of knowledge, and becomes the basis for further desire, which in turn leads to further effort. This goes on. In fact, you take it as beginningless, as samsara is. The memory, etc., is preceded by the impression, samskara, produced by the results of actions in the form of desirable and undesirable experiences that are caused by a false notion, mithya prachaya, that the body, mind, sense complex is Atma. All of these, therefore, are due to the mithya prachaya, and consequently, you cannot say that Atma is a karta and goes about doing these various actions with the help of memory, desire, and effort. These themselves are born of mithya prachaya. The Nayayika's contention that it is born out of memory, desire, and effort. That memory itself, the kingpin itself, is born out of the samskara. And the samskara is because of the prior action, based on which you have the experience, which is memorized. Okay? And consequently, you cannot say that Atma is a karta and goes about doing these various actions with the help of memory, desire, and effort. These themselves are born of mithya prachaya, and the notion that Atma is a karta is also due to mithya prachaya. Therefore, this mithya prachaya is the basic factor in creating karma. And that mithya prachaya, how did you get the false notion? Is it in the presence of knowledge or lack of it? If it is in the lack of knowledge, is it not ignorance? And is not the ignorance the cause of action? That is the point to be understood. Shankara has Samsara has no beginning. one is born with this mithya prachaya. It's a lovely statement. When did samsara begin? It is beginningless. How did it happen? It has been happening anadi. Shankara says further that this samsara has no beginning. I am born with this mithya prachaya that the body is I. How did I get this mithya prachaya? Because of the previous birth, which is also due to mithya prachaya. It has no beginning, a fact that has to be inferred on the basis of how things are in this birth. The mithya prachaya creates a sense of limitation and therefore desire and therefore effort to fulfill the desire. The effort culminates in an experience because of which there is again memory. This goes on. From this we can infer that this is how it has been and this is how it will be in the future also. Hey, what happened? Future also. As long as you think that you are a karta, you have mithya prachaya. In this birth, there are actions that are proper and improper, dharma and adharma, arising from the likes and dislikes, raga, dveshas. These likes and dislikes are due to identification with the body, sense, mind complex, and also the experience of the results of those actions. Any experience will give you a memory. You can't start saying it is because of the memory which has produced a desire and which has engendered an action. That is how it is. No, your memory itself is produced by a lack of knowledge. That is, in the presence of ignorance, an action started which produced an experience which became your memory. That is how the chronology of events. Thus, a samsara which has no beginning and which is created by ignorance in the past and in the future is inferred. The identification of myself as a body, mind, sense complex is an error, mithya prachaya. Because of this, there is isolation, separation, smallness, and therefore raga dveshas. In fulfilling those, good and bad actions are performed, and in the process, I experience pleasure and pain, sukha and dukkha. Besides that, there is an unseen result for those actions, which I have to experience later in another birth. Adrishta phala will be there for all actions. This is samsara, and it has no beginning. It is born of ignorance, which is the erroneous identification with the body, etc. Since it has no beginning and the conditions for it have not been removed, we have to infer that it is going to be there later also. If that is so, when will it come to an end? Samsara is resolved only by
Means,
unfettered
Nanaji,
knowledge. Yes, sir.
Nanaji, I want to make it clear here that thinking that I am incomplete means this body is incomplete, not purna.
Not
Therefore,
body. Not body. I am incomplete.
incomplete.
Very well
That is
identified myself with the body. I don't say body is incomplete. I am incomplete.
incomplete. And due to that, the desires, this, etc. I want to complete it, so that desire comes. So that's where the samsara started. Okay, good.
Exactly.
That's nice. Okay, then.
Any particular lack in respect of me, I would like to make it good. I would like to make amends for what is lacking. That is why there is a desire, which is produced by the sense of lack. I would not be happy when I lack something. I would like to make amends for that. Somebody called me a fool, which I could not stand. That is why I started reading a lot of subjects. I would like to have a lot of knowledge. Why did he call me a fool? Etc. So this sense of hurt is a sense of lacking.
But again,
and that remains in the memory.
Exactly.
And again, it produces the chain reaction, samsara.
Very
Good.
That is how samsara. And when it began, it is anadi. When it began, nobody knows. It began when ignorance began. When did ignorance begin? That is Anadi itself.
It's a
You
wonder.
cannot.
It's a wonder how from Jnana, Satchidananda Atma, as though ignorance was born. Isn't it?
Yeah, true.
Because Brahmashraya Maya, and
True.
because of Maya, everything else has come.
Hmm.
So it is as though Maya or ignorance is the child of Atma.
Correct.
Logically
Yes, correct.
speaking,
Logically.
how can ignorance be born from knowledge? Only knowledge can be born out of knowledge. How can ignorance be an offspring? So that, I think, is the whole crux of understanding Maya. Or
in respect of this, Kittaya said in the 7th chapter, I think, Icha dvesha sukham dukkham sangatas chetana drutihi. No, not that. Icha dvesha samuttena dvandva mohena bharata sarva bhutani sammoham sadge yante parantapa. Everybody at the time of birth is born with these. With what? Icha, dvesha. Icha, dvesha. That is longing.
Ragadvesha.
That ragadveshas. Icha, dvesha, samutvena, dvanda mohena bharata. There are the two mohas. These ragadvesha, dvanda mohena bharata. Sarva bhutani sammoham. They are deluded. Sarge at the time of birth. Bharata at the time of birth. That is because why, if you ask, it is you are what? Who is your mother? Who is my mother? Maya is my mother. Maya is your mother. And Maya does things which you have no explanation to offer. Aghatita ghatana patiyasi Maya. Like you said, Atma is knowledge personified, knowledge in itself. And in its wake, how did ignorance come? You ask Maya, it will answer. Bhagavan says.
But why, Nanaji,
Yes.
Maya has come?
Maya has come because you are a product of Maya.
Yeah, that I understood. But how Adi? Why it started?
Why? See, whenever the creation started, started because it was a kind of a krida by Brahma. He desired. I'm alone.
The desire came into the Brahma. Okay, I got it.
He wanted to multiply. And because of that multiplication desire, he also had a desire. Only thing is, our desires will be very highly binding, whereas his desires, they are non-binding. If the desire is accomplished or not, he is not bound. Whereas if our desire is not accomplished, we are bound. That is that Dvandva Moha. This is the play of Maya. Daivi Hesha Gunamamai. Mama Maya Durachaya. My Maya is very difficult to cross. Ma me vaye prapadyante, Maya me tam tarantite. Whoever take refuge in me, I will help them to cross this Maya samsara. That is the promise by Kitaya. There are a lot of questions for which the answers are as though there, but they're not answers to satisfy us. One such thing is this. Atma is Jnana Swarupa. How did Ajnana come? That Ajnana came is a fact. How it came, that how question is Ajnana Janitam. That how, why, where, when, all these are the questions not posed not by knowledge, by ignorance only. Who are you? Is it born of knowledge or ignorance? If I know, that means knowledge is there. I will not raise that question as to who you are. The very fact that I've raised that question, it shows I am an ajnani in respect of at least that. That's how.
Is it like the dreamer in the dream world?
Mm.
The characters in the dream world and the characters in the dream are questioning, how did we arrive? How did we come?
Yeah, you wake up, you will know.
You know.
It did not
Right.
arrive. It did not
Right.
happen. When you wake up, it did not happen.
Mm.
Like that other example Shankaracharya has given yesterday. In your dream, you had given some money to somebody.
Correct.
And on waking up, you want to demand that money from that somebody. And the somebody very wisely said, if today in your dream I appear, ask me, I will give you.
I will give it back to you.
That kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So we don't know when. But we are holding on to that memory.
We are holding on to that memory.
So again, that samsara.
Then that's correct. Atma has no connection with memory at all. While all memories happen in the presence of Atma. Like all of us, these laptops and cell phones we have in the illumination of some kind of a light. The light can say, I am not participating in your Zoom meeting at all. You are understanding what is being read. You are raising questions. I am not understanding anything. Neither am I interested. I am not raising any questions. But without that light, we can't see what is being read. I can't read what is to be read. And when I can't read, you can't listen. So even for listening, it is the light of awareness which makes you capable of listening. Without the light of awareness, your hearing acuity is taken away. When such is the case, where is a question of listening? You can't listen. I can't talk. All these are possible in the light of awareness. Like that light in which we are all working now for the Zoom session. That light itself is not a participant. Whether you understand it properly or not, light is not affected. If you have understood very well, light is not elated. If you ask a wonderful question, light does not keep on clapping. If I answered very wrongly, light is not there to point out I have answered wrongly. That is the light of Atma, that kind of a thing, in its
Very
presence.
beautiful.
Maya jakshena prakritihi suyate sacharacharam hetuna nena kaunteya jagadvi parivartate. In my presence, everything will happen through Prakriti. Maya jakshena prakritihi, that is Maya. Suyate, it will create. Sachara acharam, all this entire jagat, it creates. And when Maya creates, what all it creates, only it knows.
So, Nanaji, can we say this our prarabdha karma, samsara, all play of the Maya only?
Yes.
Okay.
But the point is, when did the first prarabdha karma start? The answer is beginningless.
Beginningless, okay.
Because that question, when, is itself born out of ignorance. If you knew the answer, the question will not arise. The fact that the question has arisen, it is one of ignorance. When did prarabdha begin?
So that's how the Brahmaraj asking that knowledge has created the ignorance. It's true then. Brahma has created the Maya.
It's not, it is as though, that is which Shankara's point of argument is that Ignorance was created by knowledge. Is mithya pratyaya. Knowledge does not have any recourse to create ignorance. But ignorance is.
It is like in the
Ignorance
dream,
is.
the dream people are asking, when did the dream first start?
Yeah,
Isn't it?
very right. Very right.
The characters in the dream are asking, when did the dream start? It just started. When it started?
Correct. Very right.
Like Gurudev asked us, no, where did that his ball started?
True. See, like when we have a deep sleep, all these faculties are as though temporarily withdrawn, isn't it?
Hmm.
And because these activities of the mind senses are absent, you are with yourself. Because of ignorance, in the deep sleep, it is because of ignorance all these things are withdrawn. It's not because of jnana. But in spite of it, because the influences of these are not there, you are that much happy. Sukhe namaya nidra anubhoyata iti mama anubhava. That is my anubhava. How, what a wonderful sleep I've had. I wish it was for a longer time. No, it cannot be for a longer time because your samskara has propelled you into waking up from the deep sleep. Your samskara has been the alarm timepiece. It rang and you had to wake up.
But in that deep sleep state, it was like a no mind state, right?
Yeah, very right.
So
Very
the moment you wake up, mind comes up, or
It comes up.
yeah, and
Mind
then
is there.
samsara starts.
Exactly. Whenever, supposing you, generally all of us, when we are very keen on getting up in the morning at a particular time appropriately, without forgetting, we set the alarm timepiece, isn't it? When the alarm clock rings, you silence that. And the moment you silence, are you not available in toto with your mind, senses, and bodily activities?
Yes.
Automatic.
Correct.
Just prior to the alarm timepiece going, it is debatable whether you were in dream state or in deep sleep state. No matter what state, the moment you silence the alarm timepiece, you are back with all your faculties intact and are absolutely working.
Yes.
Why?
It's like switch on, switch off. The moment you wake
Because
up.
the moment you wake up, all your samskaras, hey, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to telephone this fellow, and you have to urgently go there, you have just another half an hour. You quickly grab your essentials and go. This is your memory, which has made you do all these things.
Jai Gurudev Nanaji.
Yeah.
If desire is because of the memory and it is a product of Maya, then why Brahma had this desire of creating this? Was he?
That is his krida. That is his leela. Why? See, why did he have a desire to create? He just wanted to play with all of us. He was feeling lonely, so he wanted to have some company. He thought it would be a good company, but it was a mixture of good and bad. So what does he do? He has been waiting for all of us, good people to be better and better, bad people to be good and good. That is what he is doing. That is the lay.
So there was a thought also in that case, Nanaji. When he has thought about this, there was a thought also.
There is a thought. Yeah. The mere thought has created that.
Such a big world.
The Nasadiya Sukta, Nana.
One
One
everything.
minute, Brahmara, the mere thought creates a lot of things. Like it happened in your dream. It happens in your dream all the time. Is it not a mere thought? Is it not a mere thought that you have multiplied yourself into many, many people? You have organized a gala party, suppose. It is your daughter's wedding and you have arranged all the guests to come for the wedding reception. And everybody came. My God, there were 1,000 people. And all those 1,000 people are distinct and different from each other. Each and every one of them is created by your thought. You, a mere mortal, a very insignificant mortal, had the capacity to create 1,000 people. Not only capacity to create 1,000 people, you had given life to them. They have been conversing with each other. Somebody is singing, somebody is talking, somebody is listening, somebody is playing some musical instrument. All these things have been your creation, yes or no?
Yes.
So if you and I, who are very, very insignificant, are capable of doing all these things, even for a while in our dream state, what to speak of the Sarvadhishtanam Advayam Anantam Sarvagatam Brahma.
So does that mean we are in Brahma's dream and it is not us, he has to wake up?
Yeah, no. These are the questions. See, like Brahmara asked earlier, no, this is all very confusing. Do we have to know all these things, etc.? All these things are required to be known because in due course of time, we will entertain in our contemplation all these doubts. To cater to dissolving those doubts, all these objections and counter arguments, these are to be absorbed. These are to be kind of made into our own being, and we must live that. It's not enough if we come to know that Atma is a, but what is our experience? Our experience ought to be that we are a karta. When I am not successful in my effort, I am upset. Why? And when I am highly successful, I am elated. Why? Because I take myself as the karta. Okay. Now, I am going forward. Samsara is resolved only by unfettered knowledge. Shankara says that the total resolution of samsara is accomplished due to renunciation of all action when there is certainty of knowledge. That is the jnana nishtha. In unfettered knowledge alone, the false notion, mithya prachaya, of being an agent, karta, is given up. And naturally, the renunciation of all action, sarva karma sannyasa, takes place at once. A complete renunciation of all karma is possible only by the knowledge that actionlessness is the nature of Atma. That is the total resolution of samsara. Why total? In certain states, like in sleep, sleep means deep sleep, or cosmic dissolution, the jiva is completely but temporarily free from samsara. But then the whole thing will start again when that state ends. Thus, it is established that the total dissolution of all samsara takes place only when there is certainty of knowledge that Atma is not a doer. That is Sampurna Jnana Nishta Prapti Anantaram Eva. You will realize that Atma is a karta. That is when Sarva Karma Phalachyaga, Sarva Karma Chyaga, Sannyasa is possible. It is not as though giving up any activity and all activities. No, it is giving up with the knowledge that Atma does not do anything. A question can be raised here. How can you say that it is established? Certainty of knowledge is one thing, and the resolution of samsara is quite another. This is an objection. By knowing something, how are you going to get rid of samsara? Knowledge itself does not solve any problem. I may know all about a medicine that will cure my disease, but that knowledge will not cure my disease. Mere knowledge is useless unless it is followed by a course of action. This is the typical argument of a modern Vedanti. He will say that you only have intellectual knowledge that Atma is eternal. This is the Paroksha Jnana. But you have to experience eternity. The argument here is that samsara is something very tangible. We intimately experience all these situations which are not conducive to freedom from samsara. How can you say samsara is not tangible? I see my wife, I see my children, I see my parents, I see my friends and the relatives. I have a physical body which is subject to limitation, etc. How will samsara go away just because I have certainty of knowledge? Jnananishta. Shankara answers this
Nana, who is
question.
this modern Vedanti that Swamiji is
Modern
talking about?
Vedanti. Modern Vedanti means such of those people who are asampradayavit, people who do not teach Vedanta in the way it ought to be treated. It ought to be treated. Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyama Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Whenever you are trying to expose the tenets of Vedanta to any particular set of individuals, it is the Guru Sishya Parampara who will be talking. It is not your knowledge that will be talking. That is why you address a prayer to all of them. Yes, please.
Nanaji, if Atma is actionless, not the doer, and in knowledge we are told that we are also not the doer, then who's the doer? Who's doing the different activities?
Why are you interested in that answer? How is it going to help you?
Supreme Being.
The answer for that, is it going to be of any help to you?
Just awareness.
I think that is ignorance again.
No, what I'm saying is, why are you interested in knowing if I am not the Karta, who is doing? You are not the Karta is the Vedantic statement. You have to realize that. You have to realize that. Like the Viragi. The Viragi is what? The one who has not raga. Supposing he takes to sannyasa, and after taking to sannyasa, if he keeps on wondering, my God, who will take care of my wife and children? What will happen to my property? I say, why did you take to sannyasa in the first place? Your question is almost likened to that. When you realize that you are not the Karta, who is doing all your actions? Nobody. You are not. Certainly you are not. You are not the doer, period.
Beautiful, Nanaji.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
But then Atma is also not the doer.
Atma is not the doer at all. Even though you mistake it to be the doer, it does not do. Naiva kinchit karomi iti yukto manyeta tattvavit pashyan shrunman sprushan jigran. In respect of all these activities, indriyani indriyadheshu vattante iti aham na kinchit karomi iti tattvavitu manyeta. That tattvavitu is you or I, if we become jnanis. The moment that jnana nishtha is there, we come to the conclusion, I'm not doing anything. It is the indriyas. They are employed in their own fields of activities. Parantu aham na kinchit karomi. I'm not doing anything. That state will have to be reached to realize the benefit of appreciating freedom. Do we want freedom from freedom? Or do we want freedom? If you want freedom from freedom, Are you free or bound?
Bound.
You are bound, very right. If you want freedom, like a person who has been in jail for a long time, and after some 10 years, he was released. And when he was released, he has got freedom. Now he is worried about his livelihood. He is uneducated. He does not have the wherewithal. Nobody gives him a job. He's worried about his food. So he does not want freedom from, he does not want freedom. He wants freedom from freedom. So he is jailed again. He is bound again. Like that, we must know what we want. That is the Purushartha Nischaya.
Yeah,
Anyway,
thank you.
yeah.
Yeah,
Ramana, I
thank you,
think you can
Nanaji,
say-
for
Huh?
clearing my doubt. Till now, I was knowing this knowledge that we are not the doer, but I thought always that Atma is the doer. Today it got clarified.
No, Atma is not the doer. My dear,
No, I
you are
used
the
to think that way, but now now you made it so clear. Thank you, Nanaji, for clearing
thank
this
you
doubt.
so much. Thank you so much. See, I'll tell you, the Shastra says we are all Atma. Whether we have known it parokshena or we can perhaps gain experience of that in course of time as we progress like this in adequate measure. When we gain that anubhava, we can exclaim, Aham Brahmasmi. That is what the Veda says. That is what the Shruti Vakyas says. Okay?
Thank you, Nanaji,
Brahma,
so much.
yeah, thank you. Brahmara, I think time you took over.
Okay.
And we were halting by 8:30.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So I have a physical body which is subject to limitation, etc. How will samsara go away just because I have certainty of knowledge? Shankara answers this question as follows.
Hey,
Because
Brahmana,
yes, Nana.
maybe you can slightly magnify the text slightly. Yeah. And shift it to the right a little. One thing. Secondly, whenever you want to go to the next page, that page up and down, that command is there with you.
Yes.
Then automatically it will go. If you keep on rolling, what happens is for the reader and for the seer, not only I'm reading, all of you are seeing the same text. We tend to miss whatever was read earlier. When you do the page up and down, it will be quickly into the next page.
I don't know, I'm using the down arrow to move it up and down.
Not down arrow. In addition to that, there is a page down, page up command.
Right. Oh, okay. I've not done that. I've not used that.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay. Because the identification with the body is due to avidya. When avidya is gone, there is no more janma. The identity of the self with the physical body and the body with the self is samsara. That identification is false and is due to ignorance. Therefore, it is purely in the form of ignorance and error. When the ignorance is removed, the false identification is removed. How do you remove that? By knowledge alone. Once that is removed, another body cannot come, and therefore there is no possibility of the perpetuation of samsara. Again, one can ask, how am I going to give up my identification with the body when I have knowledge of the Atma? Because knowledge is one thing, and identification with the body, I don't know, this page down thing is not working so much.
Okay.
Sorry, I will have to get used to, I don't know whether I'm doing it right. So how am I going to give up my identification with the body when I have knowledge of the Atma? Because knowledge is one thing and identification with the body is another. I may have knowledge, but still I will have identification with the body. That is not possible. When you say that you have identification with the body and at the same time you have knowledge, what is that knowledge? If you say that the knowledge is that the Atma is Satchit Ananda and it is identified with the physical body, what do you mean by that? If the Atma is mistaken for the physical body, how can you say that you know that Atma is Satchidananda? If you know that Atma is Satchidananda, then how can you say that it is mistaken for the physical body? You may say that it is your experience. Who says you have no experience? That is why I am always telling you that this experience is a problem. Who says you do not experience the body, mind, sense complex? That experience is not opposed to the knowledge that Atma is Satchidananda. Though this body is not separate from Satchidananda Atma, the Satchidananda Atma is not this body. If you say that you understand this very clearly, but have the experience of identity, this is not possible. His argument is that by knowing that the Atma is Satchit Ananda, you are not free of the identification with the body. Are you still hungry or not? Are you eating or not? If you are, how can you say you are Satchidananda, free from all these? You have to give up this physical body. How will you give up this physical body? Giving up the physical body will take place, whether you like it or not, at the time of death. Then you will have freedom from samsara. Every day you give up the identification with the physical body in deep sleep. What kind of moksha do you have upon waking? It is not possible to know the Atma and yet have an identification with the body. Nana, here, when we talk of a jnani, jnani is the one who knows that he is not the karta. But he also, while he is in the physical body, he gets hungry, he also sleeps. So what is that that causes him to feel hungry? If he is Satchidananda, he should be free from all this, no?
Good question. It is not Jnani knows that his body is feeling hungry, that his body is feeling sleepy, his body is tired, his body is rested, his body is injured, his body has a disease, it caught a cold, yesterday was a headache, and all this happened to the body. He knows that his body is capable of having all these malfunctions. Naiva kinchit karomi iti, but in spite of all this, I do not do anything. That is the jnana, I believe. Like all of us, when we were children, we were playing, okay, different kinds of activities, and we were intensely in those activities. None of us ever wanted to play to lose. All of us, when we played, we always wanted to win. And when we lost, we were unhappy. Now, look back. You have grown up from that. You are some 40 or 50 years older than your then childhood. Your children are playing, and you see that. And your child keeps on crying because the child has lost. You simply laugh it off, is it not? Don't you? It is not as though you have lost. Unless you totally identify yourself with the child's success and failures. That is a different thing. That is taking ignorance too far. Is it not? Then you simply laugh it off and comfort the child. That's how it is. When you have acquired knowledge of who indeed you are, that is how you will be. You will feel hungry, but you is not your body. Is your body, not you. You will feel sleepy. That's okay. You realize that you have got a mixture of the three gunas. That you is who? The body. The body has sattva, rajas, tamo gunas. When somebody says something you understood, that is sattva guna. Then somebody says, please come to my wedding, etc. You make a beeline to go to the wedding. That is the rajoguna. And when you are tired, your body is tired, it demands a sleep, you let it sleep. That is tamoguna. You are in appreciation that your body has all the three gunas, but you are not tainted by any guna. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah. Is that the Lesha Avidya that you had talked about once earlier? Is it
What is
because of the Lesha Avidya that all of this is it, or is that Lesha Avidya different?
Why do you say so?
No, no.
No, it is like the impression is not there. You will be doing, you will be eating it. But the impression of eating is not there.
Yeah, but you realize that you are eating, but that you is a gauna prachaya. Your body is eating. You realize that because of jnana. You understand the difference between gauna prachaya and midya prachaya now, Brahmara? For a jnani, when the body feels hungry, he may say, I am hungry. That I am is meant for the body. That I is for the body. That is a gauna prachaya for a jnani. Whereas for you and I, it becomes midya prachaya.
Nanaji, the body for a jnani, he realizes body is a jada, means it's inert, but there is sentiency because of the borrowed consciousness or whatever, right?
True. He knows essentially the body is jada, but the jada padartha is eliminated because of him. He knows that.
Okay.
He has been the cause for eliminating it. He knows that.
Dhanyavad.
Yeah.
The whole sansara is because that we are identifying ourselves with our body.
Correct. Correct, sir.
That's it.
That's it.
So once we say that this body is not me, means we have to understand it very deeply, not that just saying it.
Yeah.
Then everything becomes mithya.
Because the moment you are in a position to say, I am not the body, you are in a position to also say, I am not the karta. When you are in that position to say you are not the karta, then all these karmas, they accrue only to the karta. And who is the karta for you now? There is no karta. So no karma phala will accrue to you at all.
So you become free.
Yeah, you become free, including getting rid of the sanchita karma. That term deposit sanchita karma also goes away, because that is in the name of Mr. X. That Mr. X has realized he is not the karta. When such is the case, his name is kind of deleted from the term deposit account. He's taken off in the bank.
No, so Nanaji, our disidentification has to be with both, not both, meaning body as well as the mind and the sukshma
everything.
Very right, everything. Body includes everything. We say body, it's not just the physical body, it's not the sthola sharira. It is the sthola, sukshma, karana shariras. All
Giddhi, everything, almost all.
In one go, everything is knocked off.
Yes, but if you are hungry, you have to eat it. That is different thing. But that doesn't mean that you are eating it. You have to say the body is eating it because of it needs it.
You know that even a jnani knows because of prarabdha. Prarabdha is what? That result which has fructified When you were born, you are born with that result, prarabdha. The body he has to.
That has to we go through it.
Now, till now, the body carried him before he became a jnani. After he becomes a jnani, he has as though to
carry the body.
He has as though to carry the body in the sense, prarabdhavashat, he has to live for some more time till the momentum of the prarabdha lasts. Till then, he will make an effort to keep the body in good trim. He will take daily bath. Whenever the body feels hungry, like you feed the dog, your domesticated dog, you feed the body. With that attitude, you feed it.
Yeah, good, Nana, good. Like feeding the dog, we have to feed our body.
Correct. Go forward,
good.
Brahma.
Okay.
So nice.
No, thank you.
It is not possible to know the Atma and yet have an identification with the body.
Brahmara, you remember you asked initially, one of the questions was, is it all necessary? We are having quite a bit of the abstract thought. Is it necessary for us? Was one of the questions. Is it not? Now you realize why it is necessary?
Yes, very much.
You do not know when the mind will be thinking of what. All these are possibilities in future. And to take care of the futuristic day, which is likely to be troublesome to you, all this is mentioned.
To get clarity in knowledge and be centered in clear knowledge. Okay. It is not possible to know the Atma and yet have an identification with the body. The point is, the removal of identification with the body is not physical. It is not experiential. It is not experiential. It is purely cognitive. It is the elimination of a false notion. Mithya pratyaya.
Wait a minute. What is the difference between experiential and cognitive?
Cognitive.
You are experiencing the body. No, you are experiencing the body, but with your understanding that you are not body, so you are not experiencing it. That is the cognitive.
That is it. Cognitive is a means of acquiring knowledge. A means of acquiring knowledge. Okay? Like somebody whom you have not met earlier, your friend introduces that person and says he's a very illustrious person. He's not an ordinary person. And there is no country in the world he has not gone to. And he has been giving his knowledge to all masses. And he is very adorned in all countries where he visited, etc. You say, oh. Is it not? That is cognitive. That is cognitive. You call it an experience. It is a piece of knowledge for you. And you congratulate that person. Very happy to meet you, sir. I'm indeed blessed that such an illustrious person I'm able to meet. That is your experience now. The cognition made you realize how important that person is. Okay?
Yeah.
Why I raise this question is, whenever these doubts come, we must resolve them.
So the cognitive, through the cognitive knowledge, we have to understand how important this Atma is.
Say it again.
Through this knowledge, that Atma is eternal, that, this, etc. That is the cognitive knowledge, and that is how important it is.
Yes.
That is experience.
Yes.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Right. That is, the Shastra Vakya Vichara is a cognitive knowledge. You have not yet got that knowledge, but you have gone to the state where, oh, I see, I did not know. I see, it is so very simple like this. If only I do this, if I know, I understand this. My God, how is it I was sleeping without this knowledge till now? What a fool I was. That is cognitive knowledge. To be what the Shastra says is that experience, that anubhava, that is different. Aham Brahmasmi, you would say.
Nanaji, then eventually it has to be.
Every day I say a number of times, Aham Brahmasmi, so that I don't forget the Shastra Vakya. But that does not make me Brahma yet. Aham Brahmasmi. That helps when you keep on, you know what, the beauty of that is, when you keep on saying to yourself, Aham Brahmasmi, you know what all will happen? And who is this Brahma fellow? He is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. And this Satyam Brahma does not get angry. So whenever there is an occasion for you to get angry, this Aham Brahmasmi that you have been chanting to yourself inside your mind, that will be a helpful feature. Oh, I'm saying I am Brahmasmi. How can I get angry? No. And this Brahma is all love for everybody. Adveshta Sarvabhutanam. All those things will come into play for you to exercise the benefit of those things you have heard. That is the beauty of the Shastra Vakya. A vritti will be generated in your mind. That vritti will be in accordance with the Shastra Vakya, which will be beneficial to you.
That is why even the Sahasranama, when you utter it,
Very right.
that vritti will come to you.
Yes, very right.
Therefore, we utter Sahasranama. You are Ananta, you are this one, you are this one. Yes, good.
Only thing is, when we are reading the Sahasranama, no matter what deity, it should not be as though with the intention of completing it. Supposing you are reading Vishwam Vishnur Vashatkaraha, Vishwam Vishnuhu, my God. The first two mantras, they have told the story of Vedanta. Vishwam Vishnuhu, the entire Jagat Vishwam is Vishnuhu. He is that Brahma. The entire Jagat is Brahma. When entire Jagat is Brahma, where is the difference between one person and the other person? Everything is Vishnu. Vishnu or Brahma, whoever. When such is the case, that is the beauty of chanting all these things. If you are very attentively chanting, the message that the mantra gives will be a tremendous blessing to you. If you keep on chanting mechanically, you have as though completed a task for the day. That's all. It's some other activity you have completed. So what? Even if you have missed it, it perhaps would not have mattered. What remains to be seen is whether you are absorbed in what you are doing. That will be helpful. Hey, go, you got 3 more minutes. Brahmaraji.
Yeah. So
That's just one question. So, Nanaji, do we have to move from cognitive knowledge to experiential? That's a progression.
Correct.
it is like
Otherwise, this
Yeah.
cognitive knowledge alone can inflate the ego, which is already high with all of us. Is it not?
That's true. Yes.
And that is going to be an impediment in our progress. We have to translate what little we have known into being what we have known.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Go forward, man.
Yeah. Nana, just before I go forward, this pure cognitive versus experiential is that someone gives you the description of a flower, for instance, says it is red, it is very fragrant and everything. But you actually looking at the flower and smelling its fragrance. That is an experience.
Very right. Very
Okay.
right. Correct.
Yeah. So the point is the removal of identification with the body is not physical. It is not experiential. It is purely cognitive. It is the elimination of a false notion, mithya pratyaya, that I am the body. This elimination is purely in the form of knowledge. You cannot say that you know the Atma Swarupa and also say you have to do something to withdraw yourself from, to transcend the body, mind, sense complex. It is contradictory to say so. Atma stands transcended. Even when you see something, no
Hayo. What
yeah.
it means is Atma stands transcended. That is, Atma is a Siddha Vastu. Atma is already there. You just need to know it. There is nothing for you to accomplish to gain Atma. It is already gained. It is a Siddha Vastu. That is, it stands transcended means that.
Atmaneva Atmanam.
Correct. Yes, madam.
Yeah. Even when you see something, no some other object, the Atma stands transcended all the time from all your experiences. Nothing really touches Atma. Therefore, the removal of the identification with the body is accomplished by knowledge because the identification is due to ignorance. The removal is not physical. It is removal of mithya pratyaya alone. Otherwise, there is no possibility of getting away from this body. If you get away from this body, you will identify with another body and travel. This will continue forever until the mithya pratyaya falls apart. And like any false notion, that will not go unless knowledge takes place. Because the false notion is ignorance. Therefore, the complete resolution of samsara is possible when there is certainty of knowledge. Shankara gives an example to show how it is not possible to say that you know the Atma and yet have an identification with the body, etc. Knowing that one is other than the cows and that the cows are other than oneself, no one has an I notion in those cows. If two objects are clearly understood as different, one does not take one for the other. No one considers that the cow is himself, except in a figurative gauna sense. Even if you say the cow is my life, it is gauna, not mithya, because you know that the cow is different from you. He gives another example to illustrate how, on the other hand, even though two things are different, one can be taken for the other. Not knowing, one can have knowledge of a person in a tree stump. So too, due to lack of discrimination, one can have the notion that the body, mind, sense complex is I. Knowing the self, however, one cannot have this perception. Like knowing the stump, you cannot say it is a person. And further, Shankara sums up the negation of the Gauna argument of the Purva Pakshi by saying, the I notion in the sun that you talked about by quoting the Shruti, Atma vai Putra Namasi is Gauna because it is based on the Janya Janaka Sambandha between the father and the son. That is why what is done by the Gauna Atma cannot be of any benefit to the Mukhya Atma. That is, the son cannot eat for the father. This is like how the Gauna lion and the Agni, the student who is compared to the fire, lion and Agni, cannot do what the real lion and Agni can do. Therefore, the I notion in the body, mind, sense complex can only be due to a mithya pratyaya and not gauna pratyaya. That is why you cannot say, I know I'm Satchidananda, but still I feel that the body is myself.
Hey, do we call it today here?
So he answered that Naivikya, what Naivikya here,
Nayamika.
exactly. He answered here. Therefore, it cannot be a Gauna. Yes.
I think I will read the next para and then maybe we can then.
Okay.
When a jnani says, I'm a being, it is figurative. If you know you are Satchid Ananda, you are Satchid Ananda. You can never mistake yourself for the body, etc. Even though a wise person, jnani, sometimes may say things like, I'm a human being, Manushyoham, but that is purely Gauna. Satchidananda is not a human being. And when you know both things very well, that is, you are Satchidananda, and that Satchidananda is not a human being, and then say Manushyoham, it is purely a figure of speech, Gauna. When a wise person says, I go, he is not saying that Satchidananda goes. Who is the one who goes? It is the body that goes, and there is a sublated Badita identification. If the nature of the self is understood, there is no question of having the I sense in the body-mind sense complex. Another argument, should I go on, Nana?
Leave it for today. Leave it for today.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe just this para.
Okay. Another argument.
To cater to your inquisitive nature. Just this para.
Right. Another argument by the Purva Mimamsaka, Atma has Kartritva, otherwise Shruti cannot have Pramanya. Another objection is raised here by the Purva Mimamsaka. The Shruti enjoins certain things. If you have a desire to go to heaven, you are enjoined to perform the Jyotishtoma ritual. Jyotishtomena yajate swarga kamaha. Here the Shruti has the status of being a means of knowledge, pramana, because there is no other way of knowing about adrishta, things that cannot be seen. Its status as a pramana is also dependent upon there being an agent, karta, who can be enjoined to act. If Atma is not a karta, the Shruti will not have any status as a means of knowledge at all. If it is not a pramana in general, it cannot be pramana for Atma Jnana too. It will not be a valid means of knowledge at all because the Shruti addresses a karta, and if there is no karta, the whole statement, Jyotishtomena yajata, and others like that become meaningless. It is like my addressing an audience which does not exist. Similarly, if the Atma is not a karta and the Shruti says Jyotishtomena yajata, there is nobody to listen. Therefore, Atma gets karmas done through the body, the Gauna Atma. The injunction cannot be for the body because it is not the self. It is anatma. It is inert and cannot listen to that or perform any action. Therefore, the sentence of the Shruti is directly addressed to the Atma, which is the Karta. Otherwise, its status as a pramana is not valid. And again, Atma itself does not do an action. It gets the action done through the instruments of action, which are what we call the body-mind-sense complex. Therefore, the one who wants to go to heaven, for instance, performs the Jyotishtoma ritual by means of the figurative self, the body. Even though they are known to be different, there is a connection between the two, in that the body, etc., belongs to the self. Therefore, the body becomes figuratively the self, Gauna Atma. The primary self, Mukhya Atma, gets things done through its instrument, the secondary self, Gauna Atma. What is to be done by the Atma is done by the body and senses, which are then secondarily the self. Vedanti's refutation. Body, etc. are not the figurative self, but are erroneously considered as self. Vedanti. Shankara rejects this argument briefly here to consider it later. The body, mind, and senses are not figuratively the self because they are all created by ignorance, avidya. The I notion in the body, etc., is not figurative, but false, mithya, and is very real as long as one does not know that it is mithya. Otherwise, nobody would be sad just because a figurative self, Gauna Atma, is fat or old. These things are problematic because the I is nothing but the body-mind sense complex. Anything that is happening to it is happening to me. This is not Gauna Pratyaya. It is Mithya Pratyaya. The person who is blind, deaf, or mute thinks, I am blind, I am deaf, etc. It is all real for that person. If the real self, Mukhya Atma, is different, these problems will not be there. Thus, the whole thing is a false notion. It is all due to ignorance, avidya. What the Purva Mimamsaka wants to prove is that one cannot say that Atma is not an agent. That is, one cannot say that Atma is akarta. If it is akarta, he argues, the Shruti will not be valid, will not be a valid means of knowledge, a pramana, for it addresses an agent, karta. In order to make the Shruti a pramana, you have to look upon yourself as an agent of the actions enjoined by it. Shankara refutes this argument as follows. What is done by the body is looked upon as done only by you. There is no separation between the doer and the body because both of them are viewed as one and the same. If the Atma is entirely dependent on the body, if the Atma is entirely independent of the body, etc., there will not be this feeling, I perform this action. Since one has this sense, the body, senses, mind, and Atma have all become one and the same. And that is not possible. Shankara says, unless you have a false notion, mithya pratyaya, about yourself. If you understand the difference between the real self, Mukhya Atma, and the secondary self, Gauna Atma, you can never feel that you are the agent, Karta. But that is not the fact. Everyone feels, I am a mortal, I am a human being, I am unhappy. In this, there is no doubt. That being so, the body, etc., are not looked upon as Atma in a Gauna, secondary sense, but in a Mukhya, primary sense.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
I think we will call it a day here.
Yes.
I know you are interested in some more reading, but you reserve it for tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay. Tomorrow you will start from here.
Okay, then.
Page 457. The involvement of Atma with the body is only because of ignorance. From there, 457, right. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om, everyone.
Hari Om.
Hari Om Nanaji. Thank
Hari Om,
you.
धन्यवाद नंद.
Hari Om Nanaji.
Namaste.
Hari Om Nana, Jai Gurudev.
Om